37 minutes past the hour, 37 past the hour. We're Daybreak USA, and we're happy to be on board this morning with you as you go about your Thursday activities. Yep, Thursday. The week is almost done. It's 7th day of October, 2010. Christy Kahila, Bobby Collins, I'm Scott West. This morning, we're joined by the president and founder of Dallas-based Edward Baumann Clothiers, and they've been in business since 1991 and have dressed some of Dallas's elite as well as those that are on their way to elite status. And, well, I guess when it comes to dressing well, and Bob Baumann, if you're watching our broadcast this morning as well as listening, sartorially splendid this morning. How are you doing? Nice to meet you.
Thank you very much. Doing great.
You know, oftentimes when I'm doing this program, we have a endless stream of fashion consultants that we talk to. Tim Gunn is one of those that, even as he's offering suggestions on what women should wear, and of course being a part of some of the more popular fashion shows on television that deal with women fashions, I always comment on his style, which I've always recognized as timeless. You know, he doesn't, fall into the trends that sometimes we'll see on the runways. And your clothing company has done something that's also trend-setting in its uniqueness. You have a showroom with no clothes.
Right. Well, the reason we do that is, we feel that when a man goes to the store and he's looking to buy something, he walks in, and there's one store here in town that you can walk in, and there's literally 200 pairs of men's shoes. When a guy walks up and he sees 200 pairs, he has no idea where to start. He's overwhelmed.
Right.
And that's why I believe men hate to shop. People always say, why do you think men hate to shop? I believe it's because they have big egos. They like to be the best at what they do.
Mm-hmm.
They like to be successful.
Right.
And when they walk in that store, they have no idea where to begin. And so in our private showroom for our clients, when they walk in and they sit down, it's a room like this, and there's no clothes in the room whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
And we sit down and we get to know that customer, because some people, everybody dresses different.
Right.
And so I like the traditional, clean look that's always around, that's timeless. But then you have other guys that want to be in your face with their appearance.
Right.
And so we sit down, we figure out who that client is, understand their style, their taste, and then we bring things out to show them. And it's amazing how often we can truly pick their personality and just pull out the right outfits. And men, they're excited, they like it, and they're ready to go. Instead of, where do I begin? We show them where to begin.
Right.
We take them through the steps. We don't let them sit there and guess. We pick it out for them.
And here's what's interesting. How many times does a man come into your showroom with his wife or significant other, and they tend to want to say what it is he should be wearing?
Well, I may get myself in trouble with this. But, most men, I've found most of my customers really do not like the clothes that their significant other picks out for them.
Absolutely.
And the reason why is because a lady comes with a feminine taste.
Yes.
And a man wants a masculine taste.
Yes.
The wife comes home, or the girlfriend, with that tie with the flowers on it.
Right.
The guy's like, I don't want to wear flowers around my neck.
Right.
And so we come in with a masculine point of view. We know how to dress the guy, and the women love us because we take the job away from them. They don't have to mess with it anymore.
Right.
They don't have to worry about the husband coming home saying, I don't like this, take it back.
Absolutely. And what's interesting, while they have this idea that they want to see their man look good, as you said, that feminine sensibility and style overshadows those things that the man really both feels like he wants to wear. And let's put it this way. If a man feels good in his clothes, he's going to look good in his clothes. If he's going to feel like he's wearing something that just doesn't speak to his own personal style, that uncomfortability, even if it's a well-cut suit, it's not going to come off good on him.
Absolutely. I had the lunch with a client yesterday. It was a big luncheon here in town, a great guest speaker, and just so happens his wife was with him. And she looked over at me and she smiled and she goes, Bob, I really love the way he looks. She says, you've done a wonderful job. But I think the biggest fashion mistake men make is they don't understand the importance of their appearance.
Right.
You mentioned this just a second ago, and when you feel like $1 million, when you look like $1 million, you go out and you perform like $1 million.
Absolutely.
I used to work for Zig Ziglar, and Zig would talk about you're walking tall.
Right.
You got your foot out there. And so, I have a client that is in the construction industry.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy has been a client for 10 years. He's bought nothing but sport coats and slacks from me.
Right.
And about a year ago, he shows up and he says, "Hey, I need to get some suits." And I'm like, "Suits?" He goes, "Yeah." And so I said, "Well, okay, no problem." Well, he comes in, he sits down, he picks out 4. And I said, "Okay, what's going on? Are you interviewing or what are you doing?" He says, "No." He says, "They have some of the biggest contracts in the state of Texas."
Mm-hmm.
And he says, "When I go in to compete for these bids, I'm in a sport coat and a pair of slacks." And he says, "And everybody else that comes in is in khakis and polo shirts." He says, "Well, now that the economy's gotten tight, a lot of guys are showing up in sport coats." He says, "I'm going to suits."
There you go.
And
Has to step up his game.
exactly. And so, and again, they're one of the top 3 most successful construction companies in the Metroplex.
Now, one of the things that we want to share with our listeners this morning are some of those fashion faux pas, those mistakes that men make. There are times when, especially if you've never had clothes made for you and you've bought off the rack, it is a distinctly different experience. Or even if they are off the rack items, but they are well suited to you and your frame, those are the kinds of things that people in your line of work help us make decisions on. For example, if you are going to be in a suit and tie kind of business, who should wear the spread collar shirt and who shouldn't wear the spread collar shirt? Who should wear perhaps suits that have stripes and who should wear more solids? And how do you make those kinds of decisions?
Well, my opinion on that isn't necessarily the same as what you read in all the books. I believe the clothes fit the personality.
Mm-hmm.
Spread collars have been in style. Go back to the Wall Street movies just now coming out. We'll go back to the original one. They had spread collars then. They have spread collars now. A spread collar is always in style.
Okay.
And I think it really goes down to the man's personality. I used to work for a gentleman here in Dallas who is a billionaire, and he's one of the shortest billionaires in this city, and probably about 5'2". But this gentleman always wore double-breasted suits. And everybody would say, well, nobody that height should wear a double-breasted suit. Well, when he walked in a room, everybody knew immediately that he had walked in the room. They didn't know who he was, but they looked and they said, "Who is that?" And so I think it all goes down to your personality and what you can wear.
You know what? Hold that thought, Bob, because when we come back, I want to piggyback on that point. You immediately made me think of another well-known Dallas businessman who, for as long as he's been in business, and I won't even have to mention his name, but you know who I'm talking about. He wears white every day of the year, everywhere he goes. And I wonder what you could do with him if he walked into your boardroom. We'll continue our discussion with Bob Baumann. Men's style is the topic on Daybreak USA this morning.
IRN USA Sports, I'm Jet Williams. The Empire struck back. Mark Teixeira hit a 2-run homer in the 7th. Yankees take game